Hey everybody, it's Deanna with toolsofenergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert, and definitely not your technical expert. But I'm back again. It looks like I was having some trouble connecting with the internet. If it's not one thing, it's another. But at least we have the sound matching the lips tonight, so that's good. And I hope those of you will rejoin me that were trying to earlier when it dropped. Hi, Judy. So glad to see you. Hi, Sri. Hope you're joining us back. And so tonight, I want to share a little bit about tips about how to survive difficult family situations during the holidays. And hi, Jessica. And this is sometimes not as popular as the angel readings that we did last week, but it's important for us, especially those of us that are highly sensitive or empathic. Hi, Becky. So glad to have you back. So I've been studying a lot about narcissism and about sociopaths and about psychopaths. Oh, Cherie, I'm so glad you came back. Hi, Carol. Hi, Deanna. And the reason I've been studying that is because, as I revealed a couple weeks ago, I had a narcissistic parent. And that has caused me to really dig deeply and begin to look at relationships. And one of the most important relationships is with yourself. And if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, how can you have a good relationship with other people? And so tonight, I was doing some research for this particular video because I wanted to be very succinct and share some very short tips on how to survive different family challenges over the holidays. So right up front, I'd like to tell you that subject is a lot larger than I thought. And there are so many different things. There's step families and blended families and, friends who are family, and there's so many different things. But tonight, I'm going to narrow it down to talk about the difficult family situations that happen during the holidays. I don't know if they've happened at your holidays, but they, in the past, happened at mine, especially growing up. And that was when family members that we haven't seen in over a year, sometimes we see them twice a year for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, maybe for a summer vacation. And those family members are very toxic. And when we left home, we left that behind. And some of us, that's why we left home earlier than others. And then when we step back into that environment, you may notice yourself feeling again like a small child or young teenage adult and find yourself back in the same situation that you left. Now, the beautiful dynamic of this is a chance for you to heal. So the number one tip that I'm going to share tonight is for you to either have a journal with you, or if you don't feel safe with that, there's notes in your phone, or you can email it to yourself. And every time somebody this holiday season triggers you into a very big response of a lot of emotion or a lot of anxiety, I'd like for you as quickly as possible to take a note of it. Note what happened, what triggered you, how did it make you feel, and how did you respond? And the reason for that is actually in a very interesting way, a healing dynamic. Hi Heidi, great to see you. When you're working towards healing or being more at peace more of the time, then this is a great time of a year for you to notice what's triggering you. And hi to Stacy. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I love each and every one of you. This is a hard subject. It is not easy what I'm covering tonight, but I'm coming from a place of love and compassion. And that's why I chose to share it instead of doing another week of angel readings. Angels are beautiful creatures, but sometimes we need to look at ourselves. So let me be a little bit more succinct. When you have a relationship with yourself, you have healthy boundaries. One more time. When you have healthy relationships with yourself, you have healthy boundaries. Hi, Jonathan. boundaries come because we feel good about ourselves. And I had been looking very diligently for why it was that, as spiritually trained as I am, as much at work as I have done over the years of clearing energies, which I've been clearing energies for about 15 years, but I didn't go professional till about 13 years ago. And hi, Chelsea. And for those of you that enter working inside of yourself really deep, last year was about working with your darker self or your shadow self. And we did a whole lot of work on that last year. And so there's another level. And when I first started clearing energies from myself years ago, I kept saying, when do I get to the bottom of this barrel? When do I get it all clear? When do I feel good about myself? And so I've been searching for that answer for a long time. And just so you know, there's a lot of energies from anybody's life to clear. So when you get energy work done, it's about helping that person, or if you're the person getting it done, taking off the energy that's weighing you down, so it makes it easier for you to step forward. Hi, Nikki. And it becomes easier for you to practice a more well-rounded dynamic within yourself. And I'm sorry if I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but this is a huge subject. And I thank you for those of you that are hanging in there to listen to the end. But tip number one is when somebody triggers you, especially over the holidays, as soon as you can, write it down. Write down what happened, what triggered you, who it was that triggered you, and maybe what they said or did. And once you have that, then you'll be able to work on yourself much easier. So let's cover some of the things that you might encounter. And oh, by the way, if you have a family that gets together every year and they just talk nicely among themselves and share things that might have happened during the year, then count yourself very fortunate. And there's a family that has extended their home to me several times over the years that is just that way. And they're very lovely people to be with. So if they're watching, a big shout out to them. Thank you for that. All right. So in the difficult family situations, you're generally going to have a toxic matriarch or patriarch in the family. So you'll have one person, usually a grandmother or grandfather, who is the toxic individual. And they will begin treating you emotionally in ways that when you were living there or you were closer to them, they probably did a lot, which destroyed your self-esteem. And when your self-esteem is destroyed, that destroys your heart energy, that destroys your gut chakra, and therefore you have trouble in life. And you have trouble walking forward. And so for all of the beautiful people that have taken classes or from me, or they do their own energy work, I have finally found a secret. You asked me, when do you get to the bottom of the barrel? And the bottom of the barrel for clearing energies in this life anyway is feeling better about yourself, restoring your gut instincts, restoring your self-esteem, allowing yourself to be an empath, totally and completely, beautifully developed with boundaries. That's the secret. Okay. I have a comment here. It says, you get to practice it each week. Working hard to stay positive. All right. So in that toxic individual that shows up, they'll be narcissistic, sociopathic, or psychopathic. So hopefully it's not a psychopath, but a lot of narcissistic personalities seem to be popping up in the people that I've been working with on this lately. So what's going to happen is there's something called gaslighting. You may have heard of that. And gaslighting is not something that they usually do very overtly, although it can be overt. It's usually covert. And this person will cause you to question yourself. And then you feel like you need to earn their approval. Can I get a thumbs up or a sad face or the angry face, for how many of you have people in your family that will insult you, maybe not directly, but indirectly? You doubt yourself, and then you go back and you're like trying to get their approval. How many of you out there, if you can send me some hearts or thumbs up and getting a couple thumbs, great, thank you. So this person causes you to to seek their validation. And it's a gradual over time thing that they do. Oh, good, I'm getting some hearts, or not hearts, but thumbs up. Some angry faces. I did bring water tonight. Hang on. Sorry, it's been a long day. And so what happens, thank you. All right, I'm getting some, yay. I'm glad you all are resonating with this. Like I said, it's not an easy subject, but it needs to be said, and especially this time of year. So in this gaslighting, the person causes you to question yourself and requires some sort of validation. And you're going to the person who delivered the verbal abuse to get the validation. And then, like I said, it's not something that they do just usually overtly. Sometimes it can be, but it's something they do covertly over time. One of the things with gaslighting may be if you bring a dish to eat to the event that you're going to. So, if you're going to your grandma's house, your mom's house, or even a church event or other organization, and let's say you bring a beautiful side dish. And it's just the most wonderful thing ever. Maybe you used your great aunt's recipe and it's a favorite. The person who is toxic, usually in this case a matriarch, will come over and say something to you like, oh, honey, I'm so glad you brought that side dish. It really looks wonderful. If only you had used this ingredient. Really? How do they know what ingredients you used? How do they know that you might have used one brand over another if you're making something like, string bean casserole? And they've just delivered you a compliment and thanked you for bringing something, and then they snuck in that little stinger. If only you'd used this. Or you brought this great dish, but we don't need that here because I already made it. Really? Sorry, sounds a little judgy, but it's owie. All right, let me move on. So the other thing is what you want to look for is people that lie. Oh, good, I got a thumbs up. I must have done said something right. Toxic people in the family dynamic are liars. They will tell you one thing and they will do something different. This is huge in sociopathic people. So, they may, they're simply put, their actions do not align with their words. And sometimes, if they're really hidden about it, these people will tell you how absolutely wonderful that you are and build you up so big. And even though this really isn't an action, these are the same people that will go behind your back and tell you how terrible you are. So in the food example, they may say, oh, it's wonderful. I'm so glad you brought this dish. This is fabulous. I can't wait to add it on the table. I made some, but I'll put it in the fridge for later. And then they go to another room and you go to another room and there's other people at that event, and they start talking about how terrible it is, and they hate when you bring it every year, but gee, they put it on the table anyway because we feel sorry for her or him. Have you ever had that happen to you? Heidi, thank you. She says yes. So those things hurt, and they're diggy. They're digging at your self-esteem. But they are designed to make you want to seek approval from the abuser because, hey, if that abuser really liked you, they wouldn't go to another room and say how terrible what you brought was. Certainly not. So maybe be extra special nice to them, right? All right. Hi, Chelsea. Yep, Jessica's like, yep, okay. So the other thing you'll find is that these liars will praise you when it's beneficial to them. Oh, look at my daughter-in-law. She's so wonderful, and she just does so many super things for me. She comes over and helps me with this, and she does that, and oh my gosh, she's terrific. You've probably seen that on a few sitcoms. And then, the next scene, that person's turning around and saying, she's really not that great, but I want her to feel good because she has my grandchildren. So what kind of a relationship is that? So what you want to do is you want to look at people's actions and their words. And if they don't line up, they're a liar. And if they're lying, it's usually to do something called gaslighting. And it's to undermine your self-esteem, and it's emotionally abusive. Hi, Jennifer Rodriguez. So Chelsea was asking what was the question. Chelsea, we're talking about difficult family situations and things that people who are toxic will say and do, and so that we can have a heads up and awareness of what to look for. And the next thing to look for when you're facing difficult family situations, the idea is to eliminate as much anxiety as possible, to eliminate your interactions with people that are toxic. I know sometimes we have to show up, but to reserve your time and your energy to be with the people that are more accepting, more loving, and more giving. So the next thing that they may do is project on you. So toxic people will project on you. So if they're having a challenge or a difficulty, they will project it on you. And a silly example is if you show up to a family event and perhaps you've been trying to lose weight, and because of the holiday stress, you're eating more, and so you've gained a few pounds back, or like me, just gained a few pounds. And someone comes up to you who also has marketably larger size, and they may project on you and say, oh, so-and-so, if you would just do this and that, you could really lose that weight. Number one, that's hurtful in polite conversation. But number two, if they're about the same weight as you, then why are they projecting that on you instead of taking care of themselves and being an example by leadership, lead by example. All right, the next thing is, and then I will get to ways to shield yourself. I just kind of covering all the basis of things you may run into. The other things that abusers may do is they may isolate you, and they may feel like they are turning other people against you. So I know in one of my family dynamics years and years ago, the matriarch of the family asked me to step out and talk to her from where the main family room was, from where everybody else was visiting, so that she could talk to me privately. And I'm like, oh, sure, no problem. And once she had me isolated or cornered, she started asking me all kinds of really super personal questions, which most open-hearted people will answer. But the challenge in answering that is they'll then take your answers that you have given and they will distort them, and they'll go back and talk to other people about what you said in order to turn those people against you, when it may be not what you said at all. Those are toxic people. They just spin drama. That's their job, right? All right. These people will also dictate to you what's important in your life. So you may go and express yourself about a new job that you found or a new relationship that you might have, And these people that are toxic will tell you what's important in your life. They don't listen to what you say is important. They tell you in all kinds of little different ways. Maybe a disapproving look, maybe, one of the ones I used to get was, well, you should just get a real job. Money's really important in life and you really need money, so therefore you should get a real job. Right? That's what was important in their life. They were projecting on me that having a regular job as opposed to an entrepreneurial job gave them the feeling of financial security. But honestly, if you have, a regular job you go to every day, that's great. You're contributing in that way. However, you are not immune to being laid off. So that was kind of what I was thinking is, yes, every day I am working and I, work every day with clients in order to run and perpetuate my business. And if the clients go away, I don't have any money. But, it's just one of those little pet peeves I had. I have a real job. I just work it a little different. But anyway, you can see the kinds of things that people may throw at you. But no matter what, here's the bottom line. Thank you for the hearts. Oh, thank you. They cause you to second guess yourself. They cause you to feel bad in your gut. Pay attention to your body. Usually your gut will get, tight and you might have upset stomach or feel sick or even have stuff going out the other way because of it. You also may feel like you have no one else in the family to turn to. That's another form of isolation, which is where I was. Because, people spreading stuff around you behind your back, and then you try to be friends with those people, and they're all like, ugh, and you have no idea what's been said to them. So that is pretty much what's going on when we're looking at family dynamics during the holidays that are toxic. And like I said earlier, there's some beautiful families that everybody gets together, everybody has issues, you chat, lightly, you have a great meal, you might encourage each other and hug each other, and then you go home. This is a beautiful dynamic. But for others of us, it's hard. It's hard to step in the door. It's hard to drive back. We know we should cough. Our grandmother would all want us to be there at that time. That's another thing abusive people will use. If you refuse to participate or come over, well, that's how so-and-so would have us do it. And we want to carry on that family tradition. That's another one. All right. So in the awareness, like I said, I have 3 pages of notes for this one today. Awareness is key in any of this kind of relationship. Some of the tips, besides recording what is said, writing it down or putting it in your notes so that you can look at it later, is to know who said what to you, how it made you feel in that moment. Because later you may begin to start to question yourself about what really happened and was it really that bad. So when you have something you can refer back to, you can say, hey, yeah, it really was, or it wasn't. But awareness is key. And if you confront them, one of the things that they will do is they will say they never said it. That's another one that I found. I would be so, angry, and I would finally confront the person, and I'm like, you said this, and this, and I really didn't appreciate it. And they're like, oh, I never said that. Or in the case of taking action, if they told you they were going to do something and they didn't, and you come back and you say, hey, I asked you to do this and you didn't do it. Is there a reason? I don't know what you're talking about. You never asked me to do that. If you felt that before, you might give me some thumbs up on that one too. So here's how you work with it. 1, you journal it. Okay? You want to know what that abusive person is doing or saying or how it feels. And sometimes it just cuts like such a thin little knife that you don't even notice it till later and it angers you. Make a note of that. Then I'm going to ask you to take that information and seek some outside support, outside of the toxicity, outside of that family. And that can be somebody who has an objective perspective. Someone who you can talk to. And I used to do this too a lot when I was younger. When something would happen, I would go to a very trusted friend who may be watching tonight. And I would say, hey, is this normal or is it just me? And because that person had no vested interest and had an outside perspective, that person was able to say, that really wasn't right. That was passive aggressive, and you might want to disconnect from that person. Or it might be, hey, that person was communicating, letting you know something was not right, and you need to work through that on your own. But the objective perspective is really good because then you know where you are and you're not just relying on what you think, especially if you've had this kind of step in the past. Then the other thing is to seek support where they can help you to identify, like I said, the normalcy or the red flags of the situation, because that's so super important. So you say, Deanna, that is great. What do I do with the holidays coming up if I don't have time to call you or go see a therapist, right? Or a trusted friend. So one of the things I would like for you to exercise during the holidays is an exit plan. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the year, that if you're going to someone's house or family members and you've had challenges in the past or they've insulted you or any of that other stuff, then have an exit plan so that, if you need to, after dinner, you can slip out the back door and go sit in your car and listen to music for 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever isn't considered rude, I guess, in your circle, and have some space. Or maybe say, hey, I'm going to go shopping, or I'm going to go to the movies, or, something, and take a little space and come back. Because giving yourself space will give you time to decompress. It'll give you time to gain perspective and just to be. The other thing I'd like for you to exercise is the awareness that it is okay to say no. So if somebody is asking you to engage in something that you desire not to, or if someone comes up to you and they're trying to gaslight somebody else and they're saying, hey, so-and-so did this and that, and they're trying to pull you into that conversation and you feel uncomfortable, you can look at them and say, it's not something I really would like to talk about. If there's anything else you want to talk about, great, but that's something that I'm not really interested in. I'm going to excuse myself from this conversation and walk away. Person might not like it, and you might be the next person getting gaslit, but you don't have to participate in a conversation. I used to do that. I used to stand there and listen to people, to be polite. And it would absorb into my body being an empath, and I would hurt, and I would walk away, and I could feel the toxicity. But please don't be rude. There's no reason to say, hey, I don't like what you're saying, shut up. Just excuse yourself from the conversation. And when they ask you why, sometimes they'll say, well, why aren't you going to talk to me? What's the matter? Don't you like me? Just, turn around and say, I'm going to exit the conversation at this time. And walk away. You don't owe them an explanation, because an explanation is where they're baiting you. They are throwing out bait. And if you grab onto that bait, you're going to end up in a toxic situation, a conversation with them. And the idea is to shut it down. And you don't have to be rude. You can be forceful if you like. The other thing about saying no is that when you do say no, people will become angry. So there's a lot of anger issues when you tell someone no. If you take a dish over to someone's house and they make a snide comment about it, if you choose it, be careful about, the things you choose. You can look at that person and say, if this is a dish that is not acceptable at your table, I have no problem in putting it back out in my car. Because that's the truth. You brought it. If it's not going to be accepted, why put yourself through having that additional toxic energy put towards you and being made fun of? And if it comes up where you take the dish out, put it back in your car, and then somebody says something about it, you can say, I brought a dish from my heart. It wasn't accepted, and so I'm going to leave it in the car and be done with it. Or maybe not even say that much. See, Jessica says, it's tough, and I feel like I'm being rude no matter what. Yeah. When you're first developing saying no and drawing boundaries, that's going to feel weird because I'm still working on it myself, and it does feel weird to say no, and you almost feel like you're being rude or ugly. Let's see here if I can give you anything else. Okay, when you say no, it does unleash people's emotions, and so again, if somebody's trying to bring something up and you're not comfortable, you can certainly say, hey, let's talk about this later when you're more calm. Because I've done that before too. Just said, when you're more calm, we'll talk about this, but right now I'm going to step away from the conversation because I can see you're really upset and you need some time to calm down. So other than that, those are some just really quick little tips that I'm hoping, my intent was, I'm not hoping, but my intent was that I could share enough tonight that it would give you a taste of what you needed to get yourself through the holidays. And then after the holidays, I would highly recommend that you begin to develop boundaries that are safe for you and begin to heal your inner self. I will be in the new year offering some classes on how to strengthen your inner self and first steps and awareness and desire and all that kind of thing. I will have up and ready tomorrow. Oh, I forgot to bring it up. Oh, darn, Zilla, I left them in my car. I have angel gift bags that I wanted to show you. I'll post them on my website and on Facebook tomorrow morning. Yeah, tomorrow morning. I'll post them up there. But I have some beautiful angel gift bags. I did go through all of the ornaments, and so now these are just gift bags, and there's little tiny angels in them, and they come with a gift card, and they're just so cute. And I'm sorry I forgot to bring them up tonight. Like I said, we were out shopping for a Christmas tree, so so kind of slipped in here at the last minute. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them up in the feed, but I would like to share with you that, besides my camera being wiggy here, my cell phone, that I will be at For Heaven's Sakes Bookstore on Thursday and Friday. This Thursday and Friday on the 13th. It is the last 13th of 2019. Can you believe it? And then the Energy Shift Update, like I said, that's available for sale on Vimeo. So I'm going to go over to my website in the morning and put Energy Shift Update so that you can click on it and it'll take you right to the Vimeo link. And so when you subscribe to it on Vimeo, you have to subscribe each month. So if you were on my Energy Shift forecast and you clicked buy all for November, then that's done. And then there's a new page that comes up for December. So every month when you click buy all, as each video is added, you should receive an email telling you that that video is up. If you have any problems, give me a shout and we'll work on that. And like I said, this Thursday and Friday, I will be at For Heaven's Sakes Books in Denver. That's 303-964-9339. That's 303-964-9339. Call them to book, and you're welcome. And then, I've got to get, if anybody wants to send me a Christmas gift, those little claws that you can put on something and they hold your cell phone, that would be really handy because the contraption I have seems to be sliding tonight. It's an old school one. So I was trying to find the date to give you too about the energy shift, but if I'm not mistaken, the full moon is this coming up Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And it's the last full moon in December. So we have a lot of shifting going on, and I would encourage you to look at the update. The energy shift updates I'm doing right now have what's going on with your chakras, different foods to eat, stones that can help you. And I'm working on that for the future too, so I can start offering bundles where I can send you things every month that you'll have them available, and then you'll just listen to the energy shift forecast and know what to use. So that is it for tonight. I am so blessed, and thank you so much, each and every one of you that joined me tonight live. Like I said, I know it was a tough subject and sometimes tough to hear, but I thank you. And if you would like to see me on Thursday or Friday this week, please call the bookstore. I do have office times available. Tomorrow's Wednesday, and I'm almost fully booked. You can text me or private message me here on Facebook. So have a great, wonderful night. Big hugs and kisses to all of you. Thank you so much for being with me.